Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana if you're new here, and today I'm going to be doing my semester 1 of nursing school reflection. Now, I've taken some time away from YouTube once finals hit just because finals were absolutely insane and they murdered me and spat in my face and stomped on me and literally everything above. That once finals ended, I just needed a break mentally, physically, from everything. So that is why I haven't been on here since the week before finals. So I'm really sorry. I know I promised to vlog, like a vlogmas kind of deal for finals, but I did not anticipate how much studying I would be doing. It was absolutely insane. I started vlogging that first day, that Monday, and I literally got maybe 45 seconds of footage because I was studying 10 to 12 plus hours every single day, and I just thought there's no way I'm gonna get content out of this week, so I just stopped and focused on finals. But yeah, I don't want to make this intro too long because I have a feeling this is gonna be a very long video, so grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's get started. So the first half of this video, I want to talk about my finals, how I studied, the grades I got, how my finals went, all of that jazz. So I'm gonna start with how I studied because that was a big question that I got on my last video. I had a lot of you guys asking how I studied, and to be quite honest with you, the way that I planned to study the week before finals was not anywhere near what I actually studied the week of finals. I'm not going to talk about how I planned to study initially because I didn't do it and there's really no point to, but actually how I ended up studying was I did a lot of group studying, and I've actually gotten other questions asking my opinions on group studying, and I think that they are great and very, very useful if you study with the right people. Thankfully, I have a good group of friends that I can actually study with and we actually get things done. We all went to the library or we got study rooms on campus and we would study all freaking day. The basis of our studying was we basically broke it up by sections, by exams. So we would start with the new content because from our last exam to finals, there was still a month period where we were still learning new information, and that month period of information was going to be heavily covered on the final. All of our finals were either 90 to 100 questions, and half of those questions were coming from that new material, so that month of material. So when we were studying, we would dissect and digest all of that information much more heavily than the older stuff. More importantly, because we haven't been tested on it, it's brand new information, so we need to focus our time a little bit more on that stuff. And then once we finished and we felt good about that new information, we would move back to previous exams, starting with the first one. And funny enough, we actually used my study guides to study.
Okay, so these are all of my study guides that I had for finals. So I have them separated by the 4 classes. So this front one is my foundations. These are my 3 study guides for that. This thicker one is my patho. So I have 5 here for the 5 exams, including the final there. This is my nutrition stuff. And then finally my research ethics class. Those are the study guides there. So I basically just had these paper clipped together by class and then kept them in a folder, and that is everything we used.
I was the one that had the most inclusive study guides, so I basically just shared my study guides with my group of friends. They either printed it out or had it on their laptop and we would go through it. I found myself teaching a lot just because I had a really great grasp on the material. It's actually really useful to teach other people the information if you know it well enough, because it helps you understand it even better. And I always say that if you know the information to the point where you can teach someone else, then I think you're pretty golden. So I was actually teaching a lot of the sessions, and we would just break it down, go through it one by each section and make sure that everyone understands. We would ask questions along the way. We would all be having a conversation, talking about it, and really just hitting the key points from every exam, because obviously if we're talking logistics here, if an exam was 50 questions, 50 of those questions is coming from the new material, and then 50 of those questions is coming from exams 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's just not enough room for the exam to cover the little nitty-gritty things on the exam, so we focus on big picture ideas. And that's pretty much all we did. And then we would always finish off every study session with a rapid fire questioning, which is essentially we focus on one exam material and we would ask questions back to back as fast as we can, just throwing out answers. Even if they're wrong, we would just keep blurting them out until we got the right answer. And honestly, that helps a lot. However, I do not recommend that until you know the information, because if you start asking questions and you literally have no idea, it can be very overwhelming. I've been a part of rapid fire questions before that I literally haven't even studied yet, and it was just really overwhelming and I didn't really think I got anything out of it. So we do that at the very end. Usually that would occur the morning of our finals. Like if we had a final at noon, we would all get there at like 6 a.m. and we would do questionings the whole day before our final. That is essentially how I studied for finals. I created study guides for all of my exams, and those are the ones that we ended up using for the final. Me and my friends all did really well on finals. I highly recommend to make study guides for all of your exams, because when it comes down to finals, you have a study guide already made, and it's so much easier. It's written in your own words, it's condensed. Making study guides, key. I'm really happy that I made them and I took the time to make them, because when it came down to finals, it was pretty clutch. I'm gonna like try to keep this quick because I have a lot of things I want to talk about, so I'm sorry if I'm like rushing, but I don't want this to be like a 30-minute video, so you're welcome. The next thing I want to talk about is actually finals. Now, going into finals, I had an idea just from how my previous exams have gone of how hard I thought each final was going to be, so I kind of ranked them in my head going into finals. For me, I had 4 finals. I had a research ethics final, my patho final, a foundations final, and a nutrition final. So 4 finals, one on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I basically thought from hardest to easiest, it would be nutrition be the hardest, and then it would be research ethics, and then it would be foundations, and then it would be patho being the easiest. That is not how it actually went down. Just the way the questions were worded and the way that things went down, now I can tell you the level of difficulty that my finals actually were, and surprisingly enough, I think patho was the hardest, and then foundations, and then research, and then nutrition surprisingly being the easiest. So looking at that breakdown, it was really interesting to see what I thought would be the easiest, what would be the hardest, and then what actually was the easiest and what was the hardest. And again, it all came down to questioning. I excelled in patho the entire semester, so that is why I thought I would do very well on patho in the final. But the way the questions were written and was nothing that we have seen the entire semester, and that's something that's really important, is when you're taking exams, you kind of get an idea of how your professor writes the questions, what kind of questions they are, and you become familiar with the exam. Going into finals, that kind of gives you a good boost of confidence, so you're not like blindsided with these exam questions. However, we were definitely blindsided with these questions for patho. The way the exam was written was nothing like we have seen before. It was way more challenging. I mentioned this earlier that because the way that the exam was written, 50 questions coming from old material, so like exams 1, 2, 3, and 4, that they wouldn't be very nitpicky on the information. It would be more general concepts. However, for patho, that was a complete opposite, and it was all extremely detailed information from like the most randomest things ever. Like it wasn't the general ideas from each exam. But nevertheless, finals went really well. It was a very stressful week for me. I think I ended up sleeping like a total of 10 hours that entire week. I was very sleep deprived. I was very tired, but I'm the kind of person that I cannot sleep until I feel good about my studying. So if I'm like not getting something, I literally will lay awake forever until I get up and start studying it. So even if I'm so tired and I lay down, I literally will not go to bed. Like it literally will not happen. I'm kind of crazy. I was running on adrenaline that entire week, and I definitely crashed that weekend. So yeah, there's a little insight of level of difficulty for my finals. Like I said, it all ended up going well, but it was really interesting to see what I thought would be the hardest versus what actually was the hardest. I don't even remember what grades I got on my finals, to be quite honest with you. I know I did very well in all of them. As I'm sure a lot of you already know, if you are a nursing student or if you're planning to go nursing student, the grading scale is very interesting. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. It's a very hard grading scale. It's a very like finicky system. Like if you get 1 grade, you think it should maybe not even like harm your grade, but it ends up like going from like an A to an F in like 2 seconds. It's insane. So I'm going to tell you guys what I got in each class. The grading scale is probably different across different schools. So our grading scale, a 93 to a 97.99 is an A, and 98 plus is an A plus, and then a 92 to a 92.99 is an A minus. and then it gets all weird. For us, we have to get a 75 or above to pass a class. If we get like a 74.99, you failed. So, but yeah, that is our grading scale. It's a little, the A- to an A is where it gets a little bit meh, but it was fine. So for my research ethics class, I got an A in patho. I also got an A. Foundations, I got a B+. Nutrition, I got a B. Concepts, I got an A+. And my foundations lab, I was a pass, no pass, and I obviously passed the class. So that is how I ended up course grades. I'm actually really triggered from my foundations grade because I had an A going into the final. I do remember this grade because I was really pissed about it. So I had, I think, a 94 going into the final in foundations, and I got an 88 on the final. You know, 88, not that bad, it's pretty decent. However, it was enough to drop me from an A to a B+, and I was pretty dang pissed about it. Don't know how that happened, but it did, and I was extremely mad because not only did it drop, it literally dropped me like 2 letter grades. Like, I went from an A, surpassed the A- area, down to a B+. And I'm pretty sure I was like borderline B+, A-, and it was just, our teachers don't round grades. It's the grade you get is the grade you get. I was mad about that one. But yeah, that is how I ended up doing in my classes. I was really surprised by nutrition, and this is something I want to rant about for a second because my undergrad degree was in nutrition and exercise science. I literally spent 4 years of my college life learning nutrition. And nutrition here is just like a basic nutrition with like emphasis in nursing, obviously. However, this was like by far the hardest class I think I've ever taken, and it literally should not be like that. And that's coming from literally a nutrition degree, like, and it's a 2 credit hour class. For all my Loyola students that are going into the ABSM program that I am, there's a couple of you out there, beware of nutrition because it actually is pretty difficult. So that is kind of a little overview of my first semester. So now going into second semester, so I'm going to run through the classes that I'm taking first. So the first class I'm in is Concepts of Older Adult Health. The second one is Pharmacology. Third one is Med Surg. I have a Med Surg clinical, and then I have Mental Health and a Mental Health clinical. So those are the classes that I'm taking. I'm in 2 clinicals this semester. So how clinicals work for us is we have, like I said, I have a Med Surg and a Mental Health. So I have 2 clinicals a week. Every single week until the end of the semester. My Med Surg clinical is going to be on Fridays, and my mental health clinical is on Tuesdays, both of them from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. 2 clinicals every single week. I do start clinicals the first week of school, so that's exciting. I've gotten so many questions how I manage everything, how I have time to study, how I have time to make my study guides, how I have time to work or do YouTube or work out or eat healthy. And I literally have one answer and one answer only, and that is to plan. I am a notorious planner. I literally plan every second of my day when I'm in school because I literally would not survive without it. It is so important to plan and plan ahead. So every single week I plan my week out. I plan when I'm going to listen to a lecture, when I'm going to take notes, when I'm going to make a study guide, when I'm going to work out, what time I'm going to work out, when I'm going to wake up, when I have work. I literally plan every detail of my life so that I can make room for the things that I want to do. Now, there really is no way for me to explain to you guys in a timely manner in this video how I specifically go about it. I made a very generic plan with me video, I think a couple videos back, if you're interested. But if you want a more in-depth video of me actually scheduling out everything, especially this semester is going to get a little bit crazy, I will definitely do that for you guys. But I don't know how else to explain it but to just tell you, plan everything out. Like I said, every single thing that I have to do for the week, I plan it out. I'm an online student, so it makes it really easy for me to pick and choose when I do my lectures, which I think I have a huge advantage versus students who are in class where you don't really have an option but to have your lecture Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. for example. I get to pick and choose. It's really nice. Yeah, I plan everything. It's how I stay on top of my stuff. It's how I can get everything done that I want to get done. But yeah, let me know if you want to see a more in-depth plan with me video because I can definitely do that for you guys once school starts rolling around. Another question that I get a lot is my work schedule, and I think I talked about this a couple videos back that I actually got a job and I'm full-blown working right now. Since school haven't started yet, I am doing like 4 to 5 days a week, working about 25 plus hours at the moment, but once school starts I drop that obviously to just 15 to 25, but my work is really flexible with scheduling and hours, so that's not something I'm concerned about. How I make it work is my availability that I set it to the extremes. So I can have shifts as early as 5 in the morning, or I can have shifts as late as 10 p.m. Now I prefer the early morning shifts just because I'm awake, I'm ready to go, I'm already dressed and like put together, so by the time I get off of work I can either choose to work out or I can choose to start grinding right away. For this semester, most of my shifts will be a 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. or 12 like noon shift, so 5 to 10 or 5 to noon, and I just prefer that. It sounds atrocious, it sounds awful I have to get up at like 4 a.m. to get ready and then drive to work and then have to work, but I prefer that because I can get it out of the way and I don't have to worry about working in the evening and having to stop my studying and break my focus and lose my grind and this or that. So I prefer that. I schedule it that way, and then I don't set any availability during the middle of the day. Obviously it's different per day, and then the days I have clinicals I choose not to work because I'm already taking away a large chunk of my day already by being in clinical, that I want to be able to still have time to be able to do work. So I choose not to work on days I have clinical. If it's like a dire, they need me, I will go in, but again, that's a week-to-week basis depending on my schedule for school. I'm very lucky with the schedule that I have and the job that I have because they are extremely flexible and I have the flexibility to choose my schedule. And another thing that's really awesome about my work is that we can change our availability on a monthly basis, which is really cool. I've actually never worked at a place that does it like this. So every month we get schedules and we basically block out times that we want to work, and that we get new ones every single month, and then our schedules are made a month in advance. So I had my entire January schedule of when I'm working like in December. Like, it's insane and it's really cool. So if I have something I need to get covered by chance, if I didn't request it already, then I have a very long time to get coverage. The rest of the month of January is going to be like a testing period to see exactly what shifts I can take, what I can handle, what I can't handle, and so on and so forth. I've been talking forever and it's only been 20 minutes. I'm doing pretty dang good. Okay, so moving forward, things that I do want to change. My most popular video on this channel is by far my study with me video, and fun fact, towards the end of the semester I changed my studying habits. Now the process is still slightly the same of how I go about it, I just do it differently, and I just think this is more time efficient. While the way that I was doing it worked great for me in the beginning, towards the end when I was getting more stuff piling on top and just things were getting harder, more difficult, and I didn't have time to be as tedious with it, I figured out a way to do it that saves so much more time. So that is something that I want to incorporate into the second semester. I want to like play around with it a little bit more before I come around and do an updated study with me on here. But just know my studying habits have changed from that study with me. It's slightly different, but it's different enough that I think it could be beneficial for you guys. And then I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about is just some things that I wanted to change in general. So I found that I prioritized school pretty heavily my first semester, and while school is very important, I feel like I needed something else to kind of be an outlet for me to release stress and release, you know, just have time away from school and time for myself. And fun fact, my entire week of finals, when I was studying 10 to 12 hours every single day, getting 2 hours of sleep a day, I was still somehow making time for a workout. Now, I would go pretty much really late at night just because I'm the kind of person that I can't do anything until I have what I want to get done. So I would do everything super early in the morning until late at night, and then I would do a late night workout. But I still did it because I was so incredibly stressed and so sleep deprived. I don't know how I had the energy to work out, to be quite honest with you. It was all adrenaline at this point, but I needed to release that stress, otherwise I was gonna go crazy. Like, I literally was gonna explode. I want to prioritize my exercise and my health a little bit more this semester because I definitely let myself go the first semester. Like, I was really inconsistent with exercising, and eating healthy is not that big of an issue because my parents cook I live at home, so I eat what my parents make for the most part. But exercising is something that I want to get prioritized a little bit more. I have been getting into a more regular and consistent routine now since I work at a gym. It's really nice because I'm already there. I have literally no excuses but to work out since I'm literally already there. I'm really interested to see how this semester is going to go with clinicals and work and YouTube, and I just got my exam schedule today actually, and I was inputting the days into my calendar, and I'm a little bit stressed out about the way that our exams are laid out. So yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting semester to say the least. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in this video. If you have any more specific questions about either first semester or moving forward into my second semester, definitely leave them down below, or feel free to DM me on Instagram. I've had a lot of you guys DM me questions on there, and I'm very active on Instagram, so if I don't respond on YouTube in these comments, or if it's a little bit more of a personal question that you want to ask, feel free to DM me. And yeah, I'm really excited for all of you who are actually doing the Loyola ABSN program. I've gotten a lot of DMs saying that you are doing it, and you're either starting like now or you're starting in this upcoming August. So that is everything that I had to talk to you about. Hopefully this video wasn't too boring. I tried to keep it as condensed as possible. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of this nonsense craziness that's about to come this second semester. And if you have any specific video requests, leave them down below. I'm all ears. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time.